Pop this off. He's got half his elemental burst filled. I'm gonna drop her burst. Freeze here. Drop his Q again, and we're gonna suck all this stuff up. Boom, over to the side. And then we're gonna allow ourselves to just damage them freely here. This is where he shines, right? And he's good outside of this, but this is where he shines the most. Yeah, you blink all you want, dude. You're gone. Boys and girls, yes, Venti is still incredibly powerful. The first character to actually be featured. Let's get right into it. Exactly what you need to be doing AR1 all the way up to AR55 plus. So Venti is one of the best characters in the game because of how easy access he is for you and how limited the resources you need to put into him to be good for you are, and then you can capitalize him later on when you're done working on your main characters. This is because of the way the game works with his animo type. He gets to use one of the best sets in the game. This is by far always going to be his best set. It's going to be the 4-piece Viridescent Venerer set here. It's not because of the 2-piece increase the animal damage. That comes more into line later on when you can build him to do damage, which you're going to want to do eventually if you want to invest a lot of gear into him. But it's really the 4-piece here. And it's not that swirl damage up. That's going to happen. It's going to help you out early on if you get access to it. But really what you're looking for here is the other part of the 4-piece. Decreases opponent's elemental resistance to the element infused by the swirl by 40% for 10 seconds here. So what does this mean? TLDR, swirl is animo plus another element. If you do cryo plus animo, you swirl cryo, and it's going to reduce cryo resist by 40%. You do pyro swirl, pyro resist done. This is a huge buff. It's one of the best DPS gains you can gain is by reducing an element or physical resist in Genshin Impact. An element resist down is insane because a lot of the higher tier damage, your elemental skill, your elemental burst, those are element based. If you have a character that infuses himself with element, that's element based. So this is by far always going to be his best set. As you're working on him early on, you want to put minimum resources into him. And you can see I've cleared floor 12 Abyss since launch with a build just like this. You can see just how little effort I've put into this character. +0, +0, +16, +0, +8. That's all you need to do. That's how strong this character is. So early on, all you really need is a little bit of energy recharge. You have some energy recharge, you're good to go. And if you're fighting against multiple enemies, you don't need that much, right? 150%, you're solid, you're good to go there. So minimum 150% energy recharge, that's going to be happening. The power spike is going to happen for you right there. And this is because as you level him up, the point you definitely need to take him to is level 70. Even if you want to be your support, you don't want to put that much love into him, he's going to carry you at this level. This is because of his talent. Storm Eye. This is where you get a second ascension. Regenerates 15 energy to Venti after the effects of the Wind's Grand Ode end. This is his elemental burst. If an elemental absorption is occurred during his Wind's Grand Ode, also restores 15 energy to all characters of that element in the party. So what does that mean? It's basically like a mini, it's very similar to Swirl is what it is. It's very similar to Swirl, where if you use his Wind's Grand Ode, if the enemy has a pyro or a cryo or an electro element attached to them, it's going to absorb that element and it's going to do additional damage of that element. And so if you have your main DPS is a pyro character like Duluc or like Klee or like Hu Tao, he's going to absorb that and he's start doing majority wind with Wind's Grand Ode with a dot damage over time, but also going to be doing a pyro damage over time. With the Viridescent set, he's got pyro damage lowered by 40%, which is going to increase his own elemental burst damage. Well, that's not it. It's also going to give 15 energy to your main DPS character if you're playing them right, playing them correctly. So you give 15 energy to Luke, you give 15 energy to Hu Tao for elemental burst, you give 15 energy to whatever your main DPS character is, because those things all line up, right? You want to swirl that type for the resist down. When you swirl that type with his elemental burst, it's also going to give 15 energy back, not only to Venti, but also to that character, your main DPS. So you can do those elemental bursts off quick and fast and furious. And this also reduces the cost of his energy from 60 down to 45, which really, really helps you out because you're going to get 15 energy back for Venti as well. Speaking of talents, while we're here, if you're using him as a support type character, listen, Wind's Grand Ode, as you start going into his damage oriented style and damage oriented builds, Wind's Grand Ode #1, Sonnet #2, pretty good, pretty nice. 6-second cooldown, has a very high multiplier. You can see at level 2, it's still a 297% multiplier here. And his hold is a 409% multiplier here. You get more damage over time from the press than the hold because of the cooldown here. The cooldown on the press is 6 seconds. Cooldown on the hold is 15. And 300% multiplier versus just over 400% multiplier. Yes, you'll be able to get 2.5 of these off versus 1 of these. So keep that in mind as well. If you're building him for full DPS later on, max the E, max the Q, and he's really more of a bring him in, do the E, do the Q, and shift out character. He don't really need to level up his normal attack whatsoever unless you're like a Venti main and you're using him as your main DPS. But that is not his role. His role is not main DPS in any way, shape, or form. So what are we talking about with artifacts here? We already know energy recharge 150%. If you're ready to put some more love into the character, what are you looking for here? So first of all, Goblet here. You're going to want to have an animal damage Goblet because all of his important stuff is animal damage. His E is animal damage, his Q is animal damage, so animal damage Goblet there. Sands here, you're going to have an attack percent main stat Sands. That's going to do the good work for you there. And then your circlet is going to be either crit rate or crit damage percent. If you can get a Venera set circlet with crit rate or crit damage percent, that's awesome. You have the hardest time finding a Venera set animal damage Goblet because animal damage goblets or elemental damage goblets in general are just so hard to find properly. So this is probably gonna be your offset piece. So you're gonna look for a crit rate or a crit damage one. Which one is better? That depends on the rest of your substats. Your best substats are still gonna be crit rate, crit damage, and then attack percent there with a little bit of energy recharge. You get that 50% energy recharge at the end of the game, but more on that later. So if you have a bunch of crit rate, you want to get that 55% crit rate, and then you want to try to hit 120% plus crit damage. So if you have a bunch of crit rate in your subsets, and with subsets alone, you're at 50% crit rate, then get a crit damage circlet. If you have, 20% crit rate in subsets and artifacts and a bunch of crit damage, then you're using a crit rate circlet. Is that easy to go? And then as far as the flower and feather go, like I said, crit chance to 50-55, crit damage, attack percent, and then try to get like your energy recharge to like 50%. Now, speaking of energy recharge here, what is his best weapon here? So as you start out, you want to have your easiest weapon to have access to. If you have access to with the basic build, I just want to put minimum effort into my Venti because he does all of the stuff that is really important without a lot of gear invested into him, which makes him so good. Some sort of energy recharge bow is good for you. So the Favonius War Bow, fantastic. Sacrificial Bow, also fantastic. Like the Favonius a little bit more, has that 50% energy recharge, good to go there. Then he can also spread some energy particles to your teammates as well to help out with that ability to give energy to your main DPS character. Remember, right? He gives 15. He gives 15 on his elemental burst when it ends, and he can give another 6 here. You swap in and gain access to those energy particles on your main DPS, which is what you're going to be doing with Venti a lot of the time. You're going to elemental burst, swap in, do a bunch of damage, good to go there. But what if you're ready to go full DPS Venti? What bows are we really looking out for at the end of the day here? So for 4-star bows, there's 4 of them that I would really recommend to you. The first one is the Battle Pass bow, which is the Viridescent Hunt. This allows you to actually build him up a little bit easier because that bow has crit chance on it already prepared for you there. So that might be a nice Battle Pass bow option for you. If you're trying to build Venti up a little bit more, you don't need max refinements or anything of that nature. You just want the crit chance as the subset there. The other ones that you can think about here, the Rust is still okay. It's probably one of the worst ones because it gives you normal damage attack up and reduces your charge attack. You don't care about either of these things. It just has a solid base attack and gives you attack percent, which is a nice substat for Venti as well. Now, there also is the Prototype Crescent, which I think is going to be one of his best ones. This is the crafted bow that you gain access to with the weekly battles against the Valen and the Wolf and Child as well. This gives attack percent. It also has a very nice base attack amount here. And then if you so desire to use this, charge attack hits on weak points. So if you shoot the enemy in the head against a lot of them, or maybe the Ruin Guard and like the little glowy places, it's going to give you another attack percent increase for 10 seconds here. So you swap in Venti, you charge attack him in the face, and then you drop your E, you drop your Q, and you swap out and you get all that damage snapshotted into your attacks. That is nice there as well. And then there's also the Stringless here. So the Stringless is also incredibly strong. Elemental Mastery doesn't matter so much unless you like early game. This is patch 1.4 now, so Venti back in the day, Elemental Mastery on Swirl, that was pretty good. You could do some damage early on as you're leveling up, and that would take care of a lot of enemies, but Swirl does not really scale that well into super endgame stuff where we're at now. And now we also have the refinement on the bow here. Arrowless Song is the ability here, and you can see refinement rank 5, elemental burst damage increased by 48%, as well as elemental skill damage, his 2 hardest hitting skills, and that is a lot of damage increase for our boy Venti there for 4-star weapons. For 5-star weapons, we have access to like the Amos bow here for the big attack percent bonus. You also have access to the Skyward Harp. Both of them are very, very, very strong. If you don't care about the crit rate increase, you have access to both of these. The Skyward Harp gives you that crit rate, make it easier to build for you. If you already have your crit rate and crit damage settled with your artifacts, go for the Amos bow for that big attack percent increase there. Now, as you are building DPS Venti later on, one of his biggest weaknesses is that there's not really any way to reduce animal resistance in the game. You had to answer this question. Yes, his constellations do resolve this factor here. His C2 gives 12% animal resist as well as physical resist down, and then they also his Skyward Sonnet increases it by an additional 12% while they're airborne. So that is very nice and plays very well into his elemental burst damage as well, right? Because they're airborne, and then boom, you Skyward Sonnet them in the air as well, and they're going to be taking all of that damage over and over and over and over. Or you can do it in reverse. You can Skyward Sonnet someone in the air and then hit them with your Q and have 24 animal resistance down on top of that. Also, if you have C4, does 25% more animal damage. And C6 here, yes, his elemental burst is going to be giving you an extra 20% animal resist down, as well as 20% reduction to whatever element you absorb with the swirl. So it's going to basically be like Venro set times 1.5. Instead of it being 40% resist down, it's going to be 60% resist down. That being said, guys, you don't need any of the constellation for Venti. He does everything you need him to do really at level 70. And if you're still finding yourself strapping for damage somehow in Genshin Impact with a support Venti in your team, you can go about doing the things we talked about earlier to further increase his damage. So if there's one thing spammed out about Venti the most, is that he's a CC bot with his elemental burst. That is true, and we're going to show that off in one of the floors, but one of the other floors is filled with a bunch of big monsters, and he can still fulfill the other parts of his role with the Viridescent Veneris set and allowing you to swirl different debuffs on the enemy over and over and over. And that's still a very strong facet about him, because there's not very many characters in this game that can wear that Viridescent Veneris set and do good things, right? There's only so many Animo characters in the game. The second other character that does different things is Sucrose here. So we're going to be going on floor 11 here. We're going to be showing you both the teams as well here. So we're going to have my Bruiser Zhongli Hutao team right here on this floor. If you want to take a peek at this one, you're going to be allowed to do just that. Lucky you. And then we'll get into the Venti control team with Ganyu, and oh my goodness, does he make that team become amazing, as I fail to animation cancel anything, but it's cool. All right, here's stuff soaring off with this burst here because we can. Start our cycle over again. Throw this down, throw that down. Pop this off. Pop this off. Now get a reset. Pop this off. Go back in Hutao. Whoops. Failed to cancel again. Oh, this guy's still alive. All right. Come back over here to this boy. Might get a couple off here. Coming to bean, bro. All right, want to just mess around real quick with this character. Under leveled. Give him that plunge. Got the reset. Look at us. So good to go. You could animation cancel this early, and then as soon as that's gone, he's destroyed. I'm gonna leave her right there.
Stabilize.
And then slap him real quick in the face. So on this floor, you're going to see the power of his crowd control ability, because let's say it takes you, because of the enemy distance between each different enemy, you can kill one enemy per 10 seconds. You have to go over there and damage this one dude by himself, and then run over here and damage this dude by himself. If you can scoop them all up and kill 6 enemies in 10 seconds, which we're not going to really see here because of him, then oh my goodness, does he become insane. So right now we're just kind of focusing on using the swirl damage. They're all swirled with the Viridescent proc. Those guys are gone. I'm gonna throw this over in the corner here. Pop this up. Pop this up. Maybe freeze this Jabronsky.
No touching. Born of ice and frost.
Get this guy frozen, and then this can be under the floor here. I could swap into Venti right now if I so chose.
Shadows of fate.
Don't really need to though. And he's gone. I swapped in for the at the end, but it didn't matter there. So even during big enemy encounters, he can still fulfill that role for you, right? But we'll see there in the second floor where there's going to be a bunch of mini ads. It's going to be the defend the tower floor. The floor everyone hates, 11-2, and I concur. I hate this floor. Is you're going to see him shine. Really, really shine. So if you're having problems with the Abyss, get them free Primo Gems. He's a very good investment. Not only is he very strong, but Primo Gems, you know, they're hard to come by. And the more floors you can clear, the more stuff you can get done, the more characters you get to pull, or weapons if you want to try your hand at that. And you're going to have a good fun there. So with this team on this floor, it's not particularly good. Our strategy here is to kill everything before it damages the thing here. So, you know, yeah, let's see how it goes. Maybe we'll petrify these dudes or kill them. I don't know. I don't know if we'll kill them or not. Crit, cool. Got these guys. Got the reset here. Swap back in. And if you want to see more stuff about this team right here, I have an entire video about it as well. So don't be afraid. If you have Hu Tao, you're like, how is he just living through everything and doing all this damage? Go ahead and check that video out, because it's my favorite way to play her. She's not on Witch's set. She's on an entirely different set here. And we're keeping her HP exactly where we want it to be. And that is allowing us to do this big damage. So I'm going to save these cooldowns, I think, because we only need to kill these two dudes. So I'm just going to drop this. Give myself a shield. Kill this guy. And we can just like naturally E here and just take him out like that. So Venti's incredibly powerful. Now we're going to see him shine here with his crowd control ability on hard, difficult floors like this one. Probably the hardest floor, maybe second hardest floor to the old cryo stage back in the day. We're going to drop this right here. Pop this off. He's got half his elemental burst filled. I'm going to drop her burst. Freeze here. Drop his Q again. And we're going to suck all this stuff up. Boom. Over to the side. And then we're going to allow ourselves to just damage them freely here. This is where he shines, right? And he's good outside of this, but this is where he shines the most. Yeah, you blink all you want, dude. You're gone. You can blink all you want, man. It don't even matter. You are allowed to blink.
This is long overdue. Yahoo!
I didn't crit even though I had like a million. Oh, there you go. Okay, and those guys are attacking the thing, so we're gonna just throw this off up there.
Here we go.
And I failed a little bit, but we're still gonna probably get so I ignored those guys for too long. I should have shot that shot that ult off earlier. What kind of word did I even try to say there? But we could have shot his elemental burst off at them and killed the other people. They would have hit the little stage there for no damage the entire time. That's how strong he is. And I was fortunate enough to get him right away when the game came out. So he honestly has made my life so much easier. Now we have more options now than we used to, but even then, compared to before, but even then, he's still there. He was the first limited character in the game, and he's still. There's only 3 characters I consider like SS actual, like beyond a tier beyond anyone else, and he's there. So he's very, very strong.
Time to act.
Okay, this guy's gonna heal himself. Rude. I don't know if we actually have a way to. Oh, we need to kill the thunder guy.
Order guide you.
Did he get it? Did the thunder guy get a shield up? He did. All right. Well, whatever. We'll just kill him anyway. Can't break our shields, and we're still doing so much damage with the bruiser build. It doesn't even matter. I'm gonna put our shield back up. Drop this down. Get the reset. Cool. And we're just gonna go back into Hu Tao. Yeah, nice hammer slam, bro. I'm like 6k HP character. It doesn't matter, dude, because you're playing bruiser build Hu Tao. I love that build. I'm bruiser Hu Tao. But you can see this control team here. We have only Diona for a healer, and we're all at full HP because of the amount of control that you can do with this character. You don't have to play him control. You can play him with a fiery, you know, with a fiery Mona or whatever it is that you want to play him with. You can do that. You can go right on ahead and do that. And he's going to give you all of that stuff that you want to do there. To Luke, Klee, maybe one of the future characters that we have coming out. I'm going to throw this at her and all of her brethren over here. So if she tries to go anywhere. Nope. Sucked right back in. Try to teleport. Sucked away. Hello, my friend. Even though you're definitely not my friend.
Decided by destiny. No touching. Brace
Get that.
yourselves.
Throw him up in the air. Boop, boop. You are a rude boy, my dude. Oh, did I not actually? I didn't swirl there because he had ignored all of my stuff. Amazing. Just throw this out. We'll probably miss here. Nope, we hit him. All right, we'll throw this on top. Come in with the dash. I missed because I'm bad and got hit for half my life. Nice. I'm bad. Oh no. Oh no. So now this is going to be a floor where he's at his weakest. It's a bunch of big dudes. I think floor 2 has a couple of small dudes where he's going to shine once again. But the bunch of big dudes, he's going to fulfill his basic purpose. And that's going to be good enough for us. We only need him to fulfill his basic purpose, which is, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. So we're going to freeze these dudes here. And just go to town. It's going to take us a couple cycles to get through these dudes, especially if we get unlucky on the crits here. We do have like 50 something crit. Pop this off. Got one dude to half. Pop this off. Throw this back down. No reason not to. Throw this up. Got to reset. Let's use that while we have it. We'll go right back in Hu Tao as we stand in everything. Because Lamau, what is a game to a Geo character? Even a fake one. I mean, what's a game to a fake Geo character? These tanky boys, they're out here. I know a lot of people did not like the fact that they put these dudes in here because they are very tanky. Oh, he jumped over a Petrify. What a rude dude. I'm trying to... I can't swap. I'm bugging out. Oh, bugged out a little bit there, but we're back. I think I almost DC'd. That's cool. Game's trying to hold me back. Boom, bong. I love that team so much. One of my favorite teams to play. Geo teams are my favorite teams to play here. So now we're going to be fighting the same dudes. We can't control them with Venti Q, but we're still going to be able to swirl. We're still going to be able to freeze with this team. And if you're playing like a high DPS team, you're still going to be able to do all of that good stuff as well. So we're going to set this up. Yep, you go right on ahead, dude. All right, Diana shot that off into the moon. So we're just going to go here. We don't really need to do a whole bunch else.
No touching. Time for takeoff.
We fire it off if we want. Go back in Diana.
Let's play.
You can see how much we've been able to do here.
Delved into destiny. Access denied.
And being able to reduce their element resist here has been pretty huge.
Let me scry.
Oh, this guy's ice, so I can't hit him with freeze. So we got to take the guy out first, and then little shot there. Little shot there. It's really good, that freeze team, but the freeze team on top of that, it's not even, it's like the place where he's like being held back a little bit. He's better than a lot of other teams too. Even more so because he's providing that element resist down. So if you had him in like a team that wants to use Vaporize or a team that wants to use Melt, he gets even better there, which is crazy because he's crowd controlling. He's reducing the element resist. He's a part of all of that big wombo combo shenanigans. And on top of that, you have another person who's then boosting their damage off of freeze or vaporize, and it becomes insane that way because you have the resist down, you have the damage up, you have some elemental mastery for that new bow as well, which we didn't talk about in the video. So if you made it this long, you wanted to ask how good is that new bow? It's pretty good. It's a pretty good bow for our boy. It's a pretty good bow for our boy here. So swap over here. A lot of provokes going out.
Access denied.
You guys feeling the pain? Pop Mona out. Pop her ult. Swirl again with Venti here. You can throw this ult out right away if you want.
Access denied.
So now they're swirling. They were frozen. Double here, freeze again. Do a bunch of good stuff. They take out all this damage. Just big ruin guards. Getting taken out AoE. I should have aimed at this one. The AoE would have killed the other one.
Here we go.
Swirl again. Come in. Pop up. Or not. Did I miss him somehow?
My reckoning.
Oh, he got killed. He killing me? No, not today. Weird. I don't know why I didn't free. Oh, I got unlucky. Okay. I finally made a big mistake on camera. Don't put it in the comment section. Don't say I died. Not like that. Not like this. Anyway, challenge ended. We got all-stars here, as you're about to see. And Venti is a very strong character. So Venti, yes, extremely powerful character, minimum investment. That's one of the best things to have. You say he's a 5-star character, I don't really need to put gear and stuff on. Why is that good? He's hard to pull. He's a 5-star character. Listen, supports carry you in Genshin. I've had this dude since literally day one, and this is where I've left him because he shines even with minimum gear. It's allowed me to work on other characters to do damage. You can work on your best 4 and 5-star damage dealers, throw him in a team that works with those characters, and he's still going to shine. And that doesn't end there. Like we said, if you want to really get in there, you have the resources to invest. You have the Mora, you have the talent books, you have the EXP books. You can make him a side damage dealer too, and it's really strong. He's got a very high multiplier on his E. He's got a very high multiplier on his Q, and it's incredibly powerful that way as well. Last thing I wanted to talk about here is the elegy of the end, because I've heard some stuff about this bow. Some things I disagree with, some things that I do agree with here. Now, first thing that I agree with is if you're looking for a personal DPS Venti, don't use this bow, right? There's other bows out there that you can use, 5 stars, 4 stars, like we talked about earlier, because this bow is an energy recharge bow here. And the ability on the bow doesn't really increase Venti's DPS at all. Because it gives elemental mastery when equipped. You don't care about that. Energy recharge, you don't care about that. I'll say that first 50%, which this bow does do on its own. And then it gives you an elemental mastery bonus for your party members, as well as an attack percent bonus. And this is the thing that I disagree with the most, is people say this bow is always bad for Venti. Dead wrong, because like we talked about, Venti is very good in those teams that are using vaporize or melt, because he gives the element resist down. He does supplementary damage. He crowd controls things for you. He lines them all up so you can land that big melt or that big vaporize attack over and over and over. And being able to give 100 elemental mastery at refinement rank 1, that is a huge bonus in damage. That's like an extra 15, 18, 19% bonus vaporize and melt damage. That is a substantial amount of damage. Also, a 20% attack buff. That's like having a 4-piece Noblesse Oblige set just slammed into your bow. So for a support Venti who can still do damage, you don't want to have the highest damage in the world, right? It's still going to give you the ability to roll your artifacts correctly around this bow. Like we said, if you get like 50% energy recharge, you level them up to 80, 90, you try and do damage with them. This is going to be all the energy recharge you need at the end of Genshin Impact when you're trying to min-max your Venti. So you get all the energy recharge here, and then you make sure you just get crit chance, crit damage, and attack percent artifacts. Boom, you've met your energy recharge requirement here. You don't need it in your substats, and this is gonna be a fantastic bow for Venti. So he's actually just insane. One of the top 3 characters in the game, period, just based on how flexible that he is. Let me know how you guys have been using your Venti down below. If you want to help the channel, you guys know what to do. Make sure you like it. And if you keep finding yourself coming back and watch my videos over and over and enjoying them, and you're not subscribed, maybe you watch them all the time, but you're not. Maybe you should do that. Yep. So you're not at 100% the YouTube algorithm will, or the Google search engine. You keep finding me somehow, mysteriously. I don't know if it's that mysterious. Until then, guys, have fun out there, and I'll see you in the next one.